G'day, Sam here from Trade to Prosper, giving you another update on cryptocurrency and particularly Bitcoin. Today I'll look at a few charts and give my perspective from where we left off with the last session.
G'day, Sam here from Trade to
Sorry.
Prosper, giving you another update on cryptocurrency and particularly Bitcoin. Today I'll look at a few charts and give my perspective from where we left off with the last session. Sam here from Trade.
Sorry guys, it looks like I had two sessions going on at the same time. So I'll try to find out where it is. All right, so let's start with the main markets, where we left off on Friday or Saturday. And let's have a quick look at them and see how they're faring up. And from that perspective, we'll look at what the possibilities are for Bitcoin. So I'm not going to go back over how we got to this stage, but pretty much continue on from where I spoke. And what we have is a pitchfork on the SP 500 on the daily chart, and this medium line, as I said, will be a likely resistance, and sure enough, it's come up there. So we're using the pitchfork as well as the fib fan to gauge our support levels, and so far it's turning out to be true. What we can notice from this chart still is the volume. It's still pretty low, isn't it? So over here you can see volume was pretty strong, and even though we get lower, which should be realistically more buying power, we're not. Here we had a drop, a lot of volume, and yet we can see this decline in volume. So it's just getting less and less. And what it tells me is it needs a catalyst to make it go one direction or the other. So we don't know. We do know a few announcements are going to come this month with a job employment, financial records, economy status, and so on. So we are expecting a few things to come out. Those will be pretty much a catalyst for either a push to the upside or to the downside. And just going by the charts is not enough in some cases, or a lot of cases. So anyway, let's have a look at this chart in a bit more detail for the time being. Interesting how this tool just did that. Okay, so what we have is pretty much looking for a push to the upside. Looking at the daily indicators, we are pretty much aligned with resistance as well. Actually, that's pretty much broken. From the RSI perspective, it's broken up, but just above the 50%. So on the daily, cannot hold. Bullish divergence has pushed that up. We've got a bit of a rhythm going there, but it's not enough to tell us anything. From a daily perspective, we have good momentum to the upside, so it's looking good, and potentially I see the SP 500 going higher. To tell the truth, it might just pull back a bit and then consolidate and see which direction it goes. Did we have that in the past? Not really. We didn't have that kind of build up. It just went through pretty much. So it's going to be interesting, and therefore it's probably the reason why Bitcoin hasn't gone. It's aligned with Bitcoin's strong resistance. This is a strong resistance. Bitcoin's our strong resistance. So they do align. Now looking at the other charts, the Nasdaq is also looking good. It's made a breakout from this wedge and stuck on the 618. local as well as I think there's the 50 moving average, yes, on the daily. So that is a strong resistance as well, interesting enough. And you can see from the SP 500, it's a descending wedge. Is it likely to break out from that wedge? This very hard to know. If it breaks out, I do still see it coming down. And from a macro perspective, we have some ideas, but it's too early to tell. But I do feel like this is going to break out. And you can see from this perspective, our reference point to that is 0 and 1. And sure enough, the 618 or the 68 is coming to be support. So this might be actually coming down a bit more. Let's have a look closer. Here, we've got the Heineken chart. So we don't have anything bullish at the moment. If we flip that, okay, so that's what we have. Pretty much on the weekly, we had a weekly resistance level. Interesting enough. So if we look at it from a Fibonacci perspective, weekly, it could be a channel. Yeah, so that could be a channel. However, in many cases, it does dip below. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's still strong resistance on the weekly. So the weekly closed neutral. Realistically, if this breaks to the upside, then we're going to expect this SP 500 on the weekly. Then that's going to be a good thing. Bitcoin is very similar, and we're not going anywhere far from these charts. Now let's look at where we got the US dollar. The US dollar has definitely done a pullback, indecision candle, and then inverted hammer, which is can be a bullish sign as well, unfortunately. And that's, we'll see what happens there. But at the moment, there's no clue. So this is the daily. So everything is lined up for one way or the other. Looking at this, this is our Bitcoin chart. The other day we were talking about it, and we had that breakout from that trend line. This one here, which I was pretty much advocating that it's likely to happen. That was our trend line. We can get rid of this for the time being. We don't need this anymore. And I did say that the 618 was the resistance, and I said that was going to be support, and the moving averages along with the median or the Bollinger Band, everything indicated that that was going to be good support. And so we hit our 200 weekly moving average as resistance, really right on the money. If you were to extend that, because the weekly hasn't closed, that hasn't come across, but you can see that's really hit it. We'll get into this a bit more in detail, but I just want to cover the main markets. And the main markets are pretty much at a resistance point. Bitcoin is looking, I think, to see what the other markets do, like the NASDAQ. If it pulls back, I think Bitcoin will pull back. If NASDAQ breaks above this moving average, and I think the US dollar drops, so they're all dancing with each other. You can say that. All right, next one, US Tether. So the US Tether, I've been using this as another indicator, a bit more accurate, and it's really good. I've also included the USDC into the mix, and I'll come to that. But what I had here was this formation, and its target almost hit. That was my target for this structure, and we hit that level here. So if you do the Fibonacci extension, it was still a good extension, and that was a pretty much a pullback, which meant that Tether was used up, and the dominance dropped against the cryptocurrencies. And now what we have, so this is the 3-day. The 3-day seems to be downward pressure from the RSI, so it does look like it's going to continue down. It might just go sideways for a while. So we have support. Now, this will be, in my opinion, in line with Bitcoin breaking to the upside and the other charts. So if we see the US Tether come down below this level, understand that we have another range to go for. So if Bitcoin breaks to the upside, we're going to come down to this level and find resistance, and that will line up with Bitcoin's macro resistance. And then we can see some sideways before potentially going down or going back up. So I do feel that this is going to come down. Why? Because of this. So on the 3-day, there is a lot of downward pressure. I don't see Tether coming back up. It's possible, but Tether, in my opinion, is going to keep coming down. It might bounce a little bit and then come down. So we might just see some ranging, or we have a decisive breakthrough. And then we look for this level for next support. So, and that is the 618 as well. But as you know, it needs to come down below this for the bull market to kick in, I think. So if it goes down that far, to me, that is a bullish. So there's a lot to go through to get there. Here, if you look at, now this is where, if you don't know, I'll align it. Give me a sec. And I'll just clean this chart up. Just to give you some understanding with the US Tether, how I use it, and probably many people else. Well, what the hell? Okay, there we go. So you can see, historically, when we hit our high, this was our all-time high there. Similarly there, that was our 64K, and that was our roughly, 64K there, 65 or so. So we got a straight line there. Here was our other all-time high, and so we've got a straight line. And if you look closely enough, the bottoms are also roughly aligned. Here the bottom is aligned with this. So it comes to, and then I'll use this formation to find the next bottom. Ideally, I would want it to be here, just a bit higher, but it might not be the case for the true bottom. Now, this structure has a target of here, which is in line with this long macro trend line as resistance. So this might come back down or just go back up and hit the target and then come back down. So I'm very aware that in the months to come, that could be the bottom. So we'll get to that if you can align it. But I do feel like, well, first of all, this is an uptrend. So we have our zigzags, but it's still an uptrend. We don't have really a reversal yet, nothing confirmed. So there's some bearish moments, pretty much like these moments where there's a pullback in the uptrend, a big pullback, and this is pretty much the same. So we can go up and still come back down. So we've got to keep an eye on this, but it is a good indicator. So that's US Tether, and here is in a small time period. This is a 2-day, so we have support here for USDC. And you can see that everything is pointing down, even the macro, everything's pointing down, that USDC is likely to break that level. Same with Tether. Oh, sorry, that's USDC. Mixing it up. So yes, it's still pretty bullish. Tether is much more bearish than the USDC. And this is the weekly. Okay, so the weekly is also showing some weakness, but it's nowhere near yet. We need to see all this come down. So climax, everything sort of lines up with a big move to the upside or downside. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. This is the short term. This is a 30-minute chart. I did make another entry right there using this trend line. I took my chances. I'm hoping it breaks this level. Small. This is the current resistance level. If it comes, and I do believe, if we break below this level, then we have a deeper pullback, and it's not going to do it anytime soon. But I do see this potentially going sideways. I do think it's going to make another attempt, and you got to be careful that it's not a double top. Yep. So this was a perfect place to short for good reason. And I did mention it in the past, and I'll get to it. You can see that the 200 weekly moving average is coming through. So that was the main reason, and there's also another trade moving average. So let's go look for it from a bigger perspective. Bitcoin. Now let's go to the 4-hour. Okay. I'll just do a bit of a clean up here, guys. So there's two ways of looking at this, or three ways. I did talk about the support, that this is support now. That's a 20 daily moving average, perfect support. And where's our BNB? So it did get overextended, and that's why it was likely to come back down, because we're outside the Bollinger Band. And so we got that. Now, if you look at, I'll take the Bollinger Band out. Actually, just put it back in, just to show you something. This white line is coming up. The Bollinger Band is starting to point upwards. You can see. So Bollinger Band is moving upwards. This is moving upwards. So chances are, yeah, it can come back down, retest this previous trend line. That's one possibility. I still feel like this middle level of this channel could be support. It's a good spot to buy, as well as if I was to chuck in the 10 and 20 moving average. Where are we? Where is it? Moving average. That's the one, the ribbon. You can see that it almost fits into the cradle setup. This could be a bull flag of some sort. I am still bullish on Bitcoin, even though it's pulled back a little bit. What do I do there? We'll just get rid of some of those lines. I need to get that other tool so I can just show on the screen and not on the trading view. We have this line. We have this previous resistance, this line here, this band. Yep. And we broke above it, which is a bullish thing. And what we're trying to see is it holding it. So in essence, you can see what it is. You got a triangle. Yep. Of some sort. Let's see. Get that out. Put it in green. That is a triangle, and it's retesting that previous. Remember, I was talking about support and resistance, number of touches, and the throwback. So now it needs to hold this, and if it doesn't, this still could be a bullish move to this side, but it makes a weaker case. It can easily drop forward, down or up. So at the moment, we need to see this hold. And the target is here, 1. So this could go up, and this is where the major resistance is. So I still think that's going to be doable. That's the level previous. So when price came down, found support and found resistance at this level. Therefore, this is going to be a clear resistance level. which is likely, it's still a good trade to find that you can get stopped out there. And then you can see another pattern coming out, can't you? So if that's our A, actually we'll do it this way. The W will continue up. There is no A, B, C because we've already done that. Right, that's one method. That's one structure. Now I'm going to go to, so that's a smaller picture, but there is more. That's on the 4 hour. We're looking at structure, formations, moving averages. Now let's look at another perspective. And this is where the daily becomes more important. So I can get rid of this for a sec. If you look at previous bottoms, we've got two here. The previous bottom back then, if we use the Fibonacci as this was where it was before it plummeted. Actually, I wonder if I should use other text now. So this is where it was before it dropped, and this is where it found support on the 200 weekly SMA. You can see when I align my Fibonacci, it's perfect with the 382. The daily finds resistance and then it breaks up. And when it does break up, so this is a build up, and if you look at the RSI, the RSI is also bullish divergence in the make. Yeah, it's going up as well. And you see this indicator, once it breaks the 50% level, it's up. All right, so this is on the weekly. Let's go back in there. And what I've done is I did a screenshot for the daily. Okay, so that's the daily and the formation. Now, if we move across, this is today's one. Now, I'll do something very similar approach. Let's just swing this across. This is the weekly, this is the daily. So you can see another thing right there. Just another reason why it's strong resistance. This 4 hour 200 moving average. It's also smack bang with the 200 weekly moving average, strong resistance along with Fibonacci. So if you recall, I said it's going to be a strong resistance. We've got Fibonacci being strong resistance. We've got the moving averages. So we can potentially find a pullback and a ranging here for the bottom. Very similar to this. There is that possibility that it can break above it based on the other markets. So if it breaks above it, guys, I would suggest that you go bullish, especially if the weekly closes that way and small time frame on the daily. Now the weekly, if you look at the weekly, it's not there yet. It's showing some. So what we're looking for the weekly is confirmation that it breaks this line from the RSI. In a sense, I'm also looking for the weekly for this indicator to go above 50%. So that's for me confirmation that you go in long, and that's pretty much I'm looking for that as the bottom. However, the weekly can take a while, and the short term, let's just do this for a sec. Hide these buggers. Let's look on the daily. Okay, so aligning those two up, like I said, the bottom, you can see the pattern. and the range. It doesn't really matter about the pattern. The pattern might come. So this was like from mid-November, and by the time we broke out of it, it was March, November, December, December, January, February. Yeah, nearly 4 months going sideways. So this is the first attempt for Bitcoin to break this key resistance level, where here it was support, the 200 weekly moving average. Here it's acting as resistance. The only time that we had that was here. So you can see the COVID capitulation, and if you're looking closer, it did find it. So it's actually swung above it. Interesting enough, that's the daily. But you can see at times when it came down below it, the weekly wouldn't stay below it. It stayed. So you can have these wicks, but this is a real capitulation. That's a different event. It's not like here where it's very volatile. So it's not fair to say that, but we can see that this 200 weekly moving average also had impact for resistance and roughly support. Doesn't have to be perfect. And therefore, once it did close above it, so here none of them closed above it until this big candle. So 1 week we had a candle that closed above the 200, and that was really the bull run. And you can see how it went after that. Very similar to, so looking at the behaviors of the price action, here we had a clear resistance level, which is aligned with this 302, based on where we lost a big drop. Yeah. So it was either going to go up in a big way or drop, and as you know, so that was our capitulation, and the RSI was pretty much very low, lowest point ever. Yep. So it's very low there, and then we had this bullish divergence in the making. So on the daily, you can see the bullish divergence coming in right there. Price is coming down, very bit. Price is coming down. RSI is going up. So that's why we had this big response. If you go to today, we have not as much. We have that on the daily, and it's matching. So it's in confluence. It's not bullish divergence. There was a bullish divergence from here to there. So this was our bullish divergence from there to there, which is pretty much from there. Not much, but it is a bullish divergence because of steepness versus the flatness. And this MACD shows it. So what right now it is, this was the area of where it dropped. Very similar to the other one. And using a similar method, you can see the 382 perfectly aligned with the other two, found resistance. It's its first attempt. So we're in the 50-50 percentage game. So if to me this scenario fits it better. If it breaks above, we want to see the daily close above it. Whoops. We want to see these a daily candle close above it, and none of these would have done it. And obviously the daily is important. You have 1 or 2 wicks, but none of them close on the daily above this 302. Right now we have a wick, and what we're looking for to really be interested in going long is the daily closing above it. In the meantime, we have this, unfortunately, other scenario hanging above us, which is that this could be a bear flag. So instead of being sideways channel, it could actually be a bear flag like that. So we've got to be careful how we look at this, because if it is a bear flag, we need to know when is it going to be a bear flag. So if it comes down to here, it's still not bear flag, but if it comes down to here, there's more likely a chance that it will continue going down and further down. Okay, so we don't want to see it come down. I like to see that battle take place. Very similar to here. If you look at this chart, we have this flat range, and you can say it's equated to this flat range as well. When price hits it and then comes down and there's a battle to hold it, you can see how if it comes back down, it's really the pressure's towards the support, not the resistance. And therefore, we can have that scenario. And if it comes back down again, so we had that scenario where a number of days we had support, fighting it off. We had that move. Now, if this candlestick come next week comes down all the way, we're going to play this role, in my opinion. So if it comes down all the way here, we'll still have a bounce, but that's my thinking. So that is a bearish move. So, but if it stays on this top half like that, then I'll have a better chance of breaking up. The other one is it comes down, and as I said, if it comes down, it will come down to retest and maybe a wick, and we still see what happens in this. This still could be a sideways ranging for some time, very similar to this here, where we can have time to assess if there's a bullish divergence in the making. That will fit perfectly. However, let's look at another aspect. Just want to fix this up. Now you can see the 618 is also a resistance. So now we even have another massive resistance level. The 382 is resistance and the 618 is resistance. And you can see that this Fibonacci is perfect. See how previous support, and so if you lose a Fibonacci, if you can't get there, you're likely to test the 0.5. The 0.5 at this point, 16,300 or 400. So that is my next entry. If we're to lose that, I do believe it will come down to there. It is in sync with this. You can see that was support for that Fibonacci. Right now, we had that level play out as support, and so on. So we see alignment with previous price action and levels. If we lose this level, then we're going to come down more because there's not really much here. So this will, if we don't hold that, it's going to come down way down. We might get something there. So let's put the other Fibonacci in through. Let's see what that does. Oops, sorry. Okay, so then we've got the 1400. So that's potentially our next support. So we have layers upon layers to look at. And if we were to do another thing, last bit, swing low. So our 618 is there. You can see the 1.414 is also acting as resistance from a fib extension. So we got, and that 618 was our support. Look at that. So let's just get rid of that for a sec. Shouldn't have done that. I want to get rid of this red line. You can see how everything is aligned. So when we drop below, the daily actually stayed above the 1.618 extension from the top down. So this is why we're finding support. It's a golden ratio from a Fibonacci extension. all the way down, and the next fib level. So that was our support. This is our resistance from this perspective. However, we also have these buggers coming into the play as well, and all this. So it's not easy to trade it. So what we'll do is look at levels. That is the level that I feel like there's going to be a lot of resistance. That is going to be pretty much in sync with this here, with the SP 500 finding resistance at a major resistance level, and the US dollar is also finding support. It's so if the US dollar doesn't come down, it just hangs around here, then Bitcoin is going to struggle as well in this area as well. So this could be our bottom for some time. However, with the possibility that it can keep coming down. If this is a bear flag, if we lose certain areas, then I understand that we've got lower levels to go. I am the opinion that I do expect a bounce. I do expect the bounce to go up to a certain point and then come back down. So I don't expect a big bounce. What kind of a bounce do I expect? We could do, if this was our Fibonacci, and we bring it to the top, I'll do this. If this was to break up to the top, eventually, we have the 0.5 and back down. All right, that's one possibility, or the 618. So we can hit the 618 and then we come back down. Now, if you're interested as to finding out more as to why I think that way, it is basically on a strategy, and that is the 3-step strategy. Okay, here we have our 1, and I've done this before. This is our 2. This is our 3. So we've got the 1, 2, 3 move. This is our 1, 2, 3 move. Yep. So this is our 1. For looking at history, this is our 1. Oh, come on. It's our 1. If this is our 2, so be it. If that's our 2, they are free. And in this case, if you look at our free, I'll just take on it's our 0.618 level. So from here to there, you hit our 618 and then come back down. So, for us to do that, it could go to the neckline. Okay. That's our neckline, that's our 0.5. Okay, so we've got 2 levels, which doesn't surprise me because this is a neckline. This is going to be a hard area to pass. So I do see that come back down. And what we have historically, then we had our A, our B, and our C. So I do see this. Where are we? So, yep, you can count the Elliott wave all the way down there to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then, very similar to if this was our actually, we've got to put our 3 in first. So if this is our 3, the theory goes that we're going to have our A, B, could go lower. Yep. So we might have that kind of thing, A, B, C, and somewhere down here or there, I do feel that this is a strong level of support. So a C could be there. Now, what do I say that? What do I think that this is not going to continue on? Well, historically, we have this count. It is a major way of looking at it. At the same time, the volume is not there. And if you look at realistically, if you're really paying attention to the rest of the economy and the financial markets, we've never had a inflation rate as bad as this, and it's likely that interest rates are going to continue to go up. So what will likely to happen is that if we were to actually, let me just do this, save this. Let me just do that for a sec, and I'll delete it. Come on, delete drawings. Okay. Let me just get rid of some of these things here, rising, which I don't need that. So if we look at the weekly, you can see that's pretty much a parabolic run. And back in 2020, you could see that drop. That drop was 30 something percent. Here we had another drop of 50 something percent. Then you got these smaller ones. This one here, 2018, which is our COVID. Oh, that's our COVID incident, right? So that's our COVID black swan event. Interesting enough, this doesn't go back enough. All right, so let's look at another SP chart. Sure, there's ones that got more history. Okay, that's better. There we go. So when you look at this parabolic run, just delete that for a sec. This one was 49 or 50%, 57%, COVID 33%, and so far we've dropped 24%. Funny enough, you can see that 200 weekly moving average is acting as support, and it's also done it there as well. So if you listen to the commentary with inflation, the mass printing of fiat, which pretty much did this from this day onwards. So 2008, I think it was, the housing crisis, they just printed money, and you got this massive bubble. So fair value is not here. Fair value can't be here. I don't think it's going to continue up like that. I do expect a bounce, but we had bounces here too, and you can see how they kept dropping for 48%, and you can see certain bounces there on the 200 there. So if we, this is not in scale. This is, I suppose it is in scale, but you can see also the volume as well. Look at that. It's just dropping. On the 200 weekly moving average, we had a bounce, and then we capitulated. We haven't had a capitulation event with the market environment we have. So we're going to have a bounce, and then I do believe we're going to have a capitulation. How high can this bounce? 0.5. Let's see, have a look at this one. Just going through the scenarios. Bitcoin's not going to be immune to this if it does happen. So that was 0.5, 618. You really got to the 618. From this 200 moving average, we had a bit of a dead cat bounce and then dropped and then capitulated, as you can see. So there was a clear support level there. What's our clear support level? This is our clear support level. So this is so far working out to be potentially, well, what we had was we had one wedge that it broke out of. Yep. We had that wedge, and we got this bounce, and it's pretty much, if you do from there to there, the 618. Yeah. So the 618 became golden ratio, just applying it. We had another drop, and we have a bit of a semi bounce. Now what we have is this one here, and if you could combine them all, now this bounce is going to be from here. So if we measure that, we might just, if we're lucky enough, we'll get a 618 bounce. So we could probably get to this level. Now you can see the 200 daily moving averages are coming down as well. So if we get this bounce from this breakout wedge, which I do believe is going to happen, and then it finds its resistance, I do think we're going to do this. Very similar to the previous one, and then long term, just drop, maybe somewhere down there. Who knows where, but we'll worry about later. But while this happens, Bitcoin is going to do something similar, which is in line with that. That's my opinion. That's my theory as how this will all come together and then we can see from this perspective, you got this line. Yeah. Now, if you don't know this is the bump and run, or the BAR, BAR strategy. Look it up, and you will find. And and I highly recommend that you learn this, the BAR. And so you have this big potential similar, and can we see that? Yes, there we go. We're going to have that as well. And in this case, yeah, if you ignore this back event here, we could have probably had this triangle. Yep. A, B, C, D, E type of thing. And I do feel that this might be a wedge rather than so we might have something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Can we have this? If this is our bottom, no, probably not. Jeez, it could be possible. Just really, we're missing the pieces in the puzzle. So if that's there, we've got to see where it comes down to work out if there's a structure to it. But this is definitely a structure, the top, the bar. And we have the bar in many cases that, if you learn, we had the bar here as well, right there. And so you get the resistance and then the breakout to the upside. So this strategy works a lot. And that's why I'm thinking somewhere there we'll get a resistance, come back down. Don't know how far it will come down. So that's part of the missing puzzle. For all you know, we could probably just be like this and then break up. So we have a double bottom type of thing. But I do feel like the SP 500 is going to drop a fair bit. This is likely to drop a fair bit as well. So I'm going to way too much ahead of myself. But anyway, that's what it is for the time being. If you missed it, we have this range with strong resistance. And I gave you the reasons. Go replay this and you'll see why it's a strong resistance. And if it was to go up, it's because the SP 500, if I refresh this, I don't want to save it. It's because of the SP 500 is going to break this white line, this mid channel. So if it breaks it, was it like that? Okay. That's why Bitcoin will go up. No. So it's non-log. So this is where our resistance is. If we get a break to the upside on this, then I do believe Bitcoin's going to break this top level as well. In theory, you would think it's they're correlated. All right, so that's what I have. Now, what's the good news? Besides that, we have Matic. I really like what Matic's doing. Matic looks really nice, in my opinion. So if you got any charts that I want to look at, so applying the same principles, if this is the bottom, using this as a bottom, using this as a top, you can see the 618 acted as support right there. Really nice. So I can get rid of that for a sec. And what we have is pretty much like a broadening wedge. If you look at it, for now, that's what it looks like. This was our neckline that we lost. Now we're looking at the wick-off structure, distribution. So at the moment, it's trying to get back above. It might not do it. If Bitcoin drops, this will also drop. But when it comes to Matic, it's really at its early stages. So I don't feel like it's aligned with all the other charts. If we were to formations levels, okay. So if we look at this, we had our wave 5 up to here. And then we had, what's this? Then we had our correction. So this, we're going to Elliott wave theory. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down. And now this is looking really great. So let's have a closer look on this. Look at the volume. While you're looking at that, the volume is really high. It's really coming up compared to the others. So let's have a closer look. So let me see, where's that structure? Formations. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I had it somewhere. Give me a sec. Okay, so put the log on. So what I have is a descending wedge. I really like this. And what we have is a broadening wedge. I can get rid of that for the time being, and you can see that. So we have a clear bullish reference. So this to me, this trend line is one, and then the horizontal. So this daily level is our main resistance, this daily level. If Bitcoin was to break its resistance, Matic, it will break its resistance, and you can see this inverted or broadening structure. You can say broadening wedge, and if you look at the trend line for this macro, it's sort of broken past it. So it's just got the above resistance to break through. And we've got the volume that's complemented it, and you can see that the cup shapes. So it's likely to go up. And how high would it likely to go up? Just do the Fibonacci extension. Let's see, what's this? So 618 is acting as resistance. And I should make a bigger, shouldn't I, text. Let's just zoom in a bit. Okay, that's where it is. So 618 is the resistance right there. So the next level is 0.78, and then where's our one? Okay. That's our main target, which makes sense, doesn't it? Perfectly there. So that's our next resistance once it breaks this. And then we have these other targets. So our next target is the 1.414. And that's where I think it will be. If it breaks this level, I've come in. I was lucky enough to enter it somewhere here, and so I just added a bit more. I'm in profit, so I just added a bit more here. If it breaks out from this, I'm going to add more. I think it will wait till Monday, or the stock market's something a day and a bit, doesn't it? So what does it say? Yeah, nearly 1.5 days for the SP 500 to come up. So this structure is bullish. Now, here's a good thing about it. Give me a sec. I thought I had the indicators on this one. Damn it. Let's just reload. I thought I had my indicators there. Okay, here we go. So you can see my working out here. The indicator, look at this RSI. This RSI, it's broken that level, this trend line, and it's gone bullish. So you can see the weekly level is what I have here at the moment as a resistance. And as a Fibonacci as well, as you saw me do. So the fact that it's broken above this, and the fact that on the weekly level, so we've got the weekly that's broken this level, it's broken this previous support on RSI, so it's above it. You just want to see it stay above, it needs to stay above. And it could be a potential resistance here, short term, and then back up. But this is what's giving me confidence that it's coming above 50%. This has already showed the momentum. And if you look at it from the weekly candlestick, if the weekly is likely to close like that is bullish candlestick. So irrespective, I do feel like this is the bottom for the short term. It's much more advanced than Bitcoin. So Matic is definitely a good one to enter. The structure on the small time frame does look like a bullish setup. So where are we? I thought that's right. What I did was I just deleted all the things I did, didn't I? So if I do that, you can see the structure there. So our Fibonacci, as I was saying, from there to there. Okay, that's our 618. And that's our daily resistance. So pretty much in line. So if we break that, up it goes. And as I said, up to this level, somewhere around there. And this, then we look at, that's another weekly level, 0.5, and then the 0.618. So I do see it going all the way up to one of these levels. And if you look at this wedge, it has the one wave, the second wave, and this is the third wave. So I like the shape that it came down as well. It's really readable, and as well as this. Actually, that's the weekly. So let's go to the 3-day. The 3-day even looks good. So you can see that bullish divergence playing out. It's broken to the upside. Now it just needs to hold it. So Matic is looking really good. Finding an entry is not going to be easy. You need to really think about maybe just wait for the breakout or wait for the pullback. If it comes back down to this line, I'll be interested. So If it comes back down here, whoops, let's do that. Fibonacci from this level to that level. So 0.5 to 618. If it comes down to this bucket, I think they will find support, and you'll just look for a bullish candle of some sort. So if it comes down, that's probably a good buy with a stop loss close to it, below it, yep, or even down below here. But I do feel like this is a bottom formation of some sort. At the moment, it looks like this is the formation it's taking. A cup, pretty much a W formation to the upside. Let's look at the next one. Let's see AVAX. Oh, sorry, ADA. ADA's not the best. Let's jump ADA for a sec. I like AVAX. AVAX is doing something good, similar to. I want to really get AVAX in a good position. I bought some AVAX. I'm looking at to buy more. At the moment, you can see with the setup, it's a broadening wedge, and it's pretty much broken this blue line. So I do feel like it's going to go up. Right now, it's fine. It's testing this support line on the moving average. It's not really convinced. So our immediate resistance is pretty much this here. This Fibonacci is our immediate resistance. So you might want to buy in after it breaks this. That could be a double top and come back down. So you want to see the close above it, a 4-hour candle, come back for the retest and buy. So if it does break up, look for the retest because there's some resistance levels here as well. So it would like to come back, but you want to see it break it. It's not the best setup to enter this because there's not many touches on it. This line, it's not the most convincing resistance line. So we might just come back down. If it does that, it's perfect. Then you get this retest of this line, and that will be a nice breakout trade. So I doubt it's going to just go up and do that. I do feel like it's going to range before it goes up, but that's what I feel for AVAX. Another bottoming formation. There is that possibility that Bitcoin drops down hard, then we can do that as well. So just have your stop losses, good positions. VET is doing a W formation, so it's not as bullish as the others, but it's at a good level from a macro perspective. It's on the 0.5 Fibonacci. When you look at it from the top to the bottom, it's on the 0.5 Fibonacci, finding support. So this is likely to be the bottom, and it could likely to be a broadening wedge of some sort. So this might be able to go to there and back down again, or even higher. So I just put those lines there. We'll see how they come into play. That is a neckline there, so it's going to be a strong resistance as well. So if it does reverse, there is no really convincing trend line here. Maybe not. I struggle to find something there. So I'm just looking at this formation. It's not the best. You might just be a bear flag in the making. So be careful. And that's why I got these. These are my buy-in boxes. I'm more interested on the 618 level to go. If it comes down to that level, I'll be happy to buy the 618 level. And you can see why. So we're on the top of this. It would be nice to be on the point of control. There's 2 point of control levels. So I'll start averaging in there and averaging in there if it comes down. At the moment, I'm not interested in buying it. So you can see FTM or Phantom. It's come down long enough, hasn't it? So it's finding support of some sort at this weekly level. So that's our bottom. Didn't quite get there. It's good enough in the middle of it all. we're looking at the MACD. If it crosses, that's going to be a good sign on the weekly. This indicator I'm not really using. On the smaller time frame, it's a hard one. It's really hard to find out what it's doing here. It could be a bear flag. It's not easy. Maybe looking at this, if it breaks above this indicator, then that's probably a good sign to go. I'm sure the RSI is pretty much doing the same. Give us a sec. Alright, it's not working. Let me save this. But you can see FTM is really coming down low, and it's probably the risk to reward ratio is pretty much there, really. Okay, I have to refresh this page. Give me a sec. Not responding. There we go. This is I'll look at a 12-hour chart. Let's see what happens. So the volume is not there either. Not much volume. It's just a grind. So I'll see this as a grind line. Dangerous at the moment for this one. Not convincing at all. But the MACD is going up. So if I add the RSI, just want to see what it shows me. Okay, so my Phoenix on the 12 hours is pretty bullish to the upside. It's just coming down to a critical level, either going up or down. But let's look at it on daily. MACD is pretty much uptrend, and if you look at, okay, it's just above, isn't it, on the daily? And realistically, when I use that trend line, it's just popping itself. So if it closes, but you can see it's on the 618 as well. Yeah, if I flip this to the using the top and the bottom, it's on the 618. It's key resistance level. So we want to see it close above it. So it is looking good. It looks daily is looking bullish. This is RSI is looking good as well. So actually, it's not bad. So FTM is probably worth buying as well. On the what I'm seeing on the daily. If we go to the 4-hour, you can see how it did wick up above it and it came back down. Okay, so we have a new resistance. Okay, it's not that Fibonacci as well. It's this one here. Okay. Any particular formation? No, not really. Not as clean as the others. I did buy dot. So this grind line, I just bought some there. RSI is showing it as a support. And what we can see, this blue line has a lot of, I believe, has a bit of work. But I do see this very similar to the others. Double bottom. This could go sideways for a while, but at the same time, it's broken this level here. So it's gone up another level. I don't think DOT's going to just go up like that, but it's an accumulation structure. So it's coming down, could be waving before it goes up. So I don't expect much with DOT. And if it comes back down, yeah, definitely I'll be looking to buy there. So what I've done with DOT, if you look on the bigger time frame, it's really come down a lot. And I think DOT's slower. It's new, relatively new, but it did make a big move, didn't it? And so it's it's very volatile. That's not on log. For the log, you can see my areas of interest. That's one area of interest, and so that was a 1.414 extension, and the 1.6. I still feel like this is a real good bargain if it comes back down here, but you don't want to take that chances. So I bought some there, and I'll be looking forward to come back down more. All right. What else do we have? Optimism. Sorry. So I'm looking to go long with optimism, and if you recall my last, there's not much data to talk about. Um, so I do have this potential level of support. I'll be looking to buy some more with a strong stop loss there. So if it is coming down, so I did expect it to come down. So it's come down below this support, and if it comes down a more, I do see this line being tested, this grind line, and depending on Bitcoin and so on. But I do feel like if you look at that, it does look like a reversal pattern of some sort, and I'll be interested to buy and just hold. Even if it comes down there, I'll buy more. The long time waiting, so optimism is pretty good. Good project. Here I've got Moonbeam. I've been doing Moonbeam for a while, guys, so you know those who regularly follow me, there's some interest there. This trend line, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but it seems to be playing a role. I love to buy it down here. So there's a methodology to this craziness. It could be a bear flag, it could be a reversal. So just a bit of caution. Main resistance is there, and this does look like just sideways accumulation, but that was sideways accumulation as well. And look what happened. So just need to be careful. I bought some, and if it drops more, I'll buy more. Just a bit of a strategy of averaging in. Okay, here I'll buy heaps for sure. That's another 40-50% drop. So I'm just using these Fibonacci extensions and so on. So this level is an area of interest for me. Comes down to the one point. I'll still have a little bit there to buy more, but I will definitely buy a fair bit there. It's a big drop. What range drop? So from there to there, it's 50%. So that would be definitely a good buy. All right, Ethereum. Ethereum is very much similar to Bitcoin. You can see the structure. It's actually, so we've got this top resistance line. It's the third touch. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So I think it's going to retest this trend line that we have. You can see the response and the Fibonacci level, and then up. I'll still buy it or buy if it breaks this line. So I'll average in and have a tight stop loss, and if it drops, then it's likely to come down to this level. So it's worth having a tight stop loss, and then see if that's worth buying. So that is a reversal type of structure. This could be, if this comes up, so it's the third touch. If this goes up, I have a feeling that it will break through. That'll be the fourth touch. Long term, you can see that the weekly, the RSI here, is a descending wedge of some sort. So I do see that breaking up. That's why I got that blue line. I don't see it going too high. I still see it come down, maybe hopefully down there to the 600-700 range, and the bull market. So the weekly MACD hasn't crossed over. This still got a fair bit, and this initial short term we see a bit of break. This is the 4 hour, so we've seen that Ethereum drop below this trend line. So I do feel like this is going to come down a bit more, and we'll keep an eye on it. That's Ethereum for me. Synthetics a bit difficult, but I think that was the bottom there. I do feel like this is going to go range sideways before it goes up. Could go further down. But I'll be looking for the one average in this. It's not that clear, very volatile. So maybe have some orders really low in case it just springs back. Get lucky, like this type of thing. Look at these ones. From there to there, it just went crazy. And this other one. This is on KuCoin. So that's crazy. So synthetics is a good project and a good protocol. My TrueBit, one of my favorite ones, not doing the best at the moment. It's just all over the place. It's not giving me anything clear except this is the support line, and it's holding. And we've got a number of scenarios there. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. If you missed out the Bitcoin stuff, it's in the early picture. Actually, here we go. So looking to move up again. So it's worth buying. I bought some. Where am I? I did buy some on the smaller time frame, and I closed it by accident, like an idiot. Let me look at the 30-minute chart. Let's see how we go. There we go. So 30-minute wise, Bitcoin. Let's just do this. I do feel like it's going to break out. So we had this triangle on the 30-minute. So I bought it because of that. You know where the stop loss is, don't you? So that is a squeeze. I think it's going to pop up. It does look like it's going to pop up, so it's a good buy. Let me just check my trade. Where is it? Okay. Yes, I'm still doing all right with that one, and I'm also in Matic with a. When I say trade, leverage, high leverage trade. So I've gone in the high leverage trade. The 30-minute one is looking good because you can see the medium and the moving 10 and 20 moving average is acting as support. So it's likely to pop up and read, like I said, it's likely to retest this level. Give me a sec. It's likely to retest this level. And if it breaks that, it's definitely going to retest this level again. And it might just do a double top. This is Bitcoin, guys. So we've got two levels it's likely to test. So let's just pull back a bit and you can see what's going on. The 10 and 20 moving average. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like a bit of a bull flag. Have your slight top loss under this line, this grind line. So if it drops that line, it's going to come down a bit more. But this could be of any formation as a continuation pattern. So let's do that. This could be also like that. It could come down and test, but it does look like a bit of a bull flag. Look at this volume on the 30-minute. Look at Bitcoin. Here there was nothing, and look at this strong support. So I do feel like the buyers have come in, really supported that. Will they? Yeah, it's hard to say. So look at the formation. See the support is and where the resistance is. So we've got a few. Here we go. The next fib level there, and this moving average. The 200. This is a 200 weekly moving average, which is the main resistance. Then we've got the one, and so on. So look, it's looking good, and I would say buy, guys. And I think I forgot to buy one for another group. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I've already talked about this, so I won't just go over it. I'll wrap it up, guys, and thanks for joining. Please give me a like and a share, and join our group. It's in my signature. If you say hi, I say hello back. And if you've got any questions, I'll wait for a minute. If you've got no questions, I'm going to wrap it up. Let me see the YouTube one. There might be questions on the YouTube channel. YouTube channel. Okay, there's no questions. There's actually no one watching at this time. Maybe they'll watch it a bit later. So, no questions, guys. All right, then. That's a wrap up. I've gone through all of it. So, if you missed anything, just do the replay. The YouTube channel, I'll just put into the comments stage so you can replay it there if you want. Otherwise, there is nothing else to talk about. I don't want to cover every single coin. They'll all sort of line up. Talk to you